Hey everybody, my name is Ethan Ostroff. I'm an attorney, an entrepreneur. I'm here for the reboot of The Growth Code. I'm so excited to start this podcast back up. The goal of this podcast is to kind of problem solve and help talk about relatable things going on with my business or with your business. I'm going to be bringing people on here who are lawyers, business owners, entrepreneurs, and people that are really have a growth mindset and are trying to grow their own business. To give a little backstory, I'm actually here with a pretty special guest today. This is my business partner, James DiBattista. James and I have started all of our business ventures together since January 2022. Today, we are here to kind of talk a little bit about that story, things we've learned, things that we hope that you can avoid when you start your own business or trying to grow something. So, James, thanks for being here.
For sure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, for those of you who are listening, the Growth Code is designed really to help you problem solve in your business and help you grow. I thought of no one better than my business partner who I've built a few companies now with over 100 internal staff with in, about 3 years and change?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I figured it might be a good idea to bring someone that I actually did it with. So, James, let's go back to, how we even know each other. You want to tell our audience, how we met or, a little bit about why we're working together?
Sure. Yeah. So Ethan and I met when he started dating my sister. Fast forward to now, he's now my brother-in-law. So they've since been married. And obviously Ethan and I knew each other from that family relationship. In the middle of 2021, we started doing some like crypto NFT type projects together, and we noticed we had pretty complementary skill sets. At the time, I think I was a little more kind of settled at my job. I was kind of happy to stay there. For a while, I know Ethan was thinking about making a change, and then he approached me and said, hey, it's been great working together on these kind of small crypto projects. And then he was like, do you want to dive in and do some of these things together? And I said, yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. So, it was definitely a little nuts to start 3 companies at once. We started Ethan Ostroff Law together, which, my first TikTok was back in October 2019. So that's been a while. The brand was growing, but you joined, we started Ethan Ostroff Law more formally together, started generating our own cases and, referring out a lot of work and now starting to take on our own work. We also started TKO, or Turnkey Ops, our original staffing company. Then in September 2022 was Attorney Assistant as well. So, when we talk to people, they think we're a little nuts for starting 2, going on 3, going on maybe 4 companies. Why are we not nuts? Like, what do we do to keep the peace with what we do every day?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is, like I said, that complementary skill set. I think we both bring different elements to the business, which allows us to kind of scale more so than maybe a solopreneur, kind of having that partner that can be a sounding board, bounce ideas off of, also kind of take ideas and kind of run with them. And I think just there was also some complementary nature of, we won't get too much into our technically crypto business called Play to Earn Docs, which was kind of the stepchild that didn't really have anything to do with them. But really the way that we were building the law firm, Ethan Ostroff Law, was with that growth mindset, with that virtual assistant mindset, which is really what Turnkey Ops and Attorney Assistant are all about. So essentially, in some ways, Ethan Ostroff Law was kind of our poster child, our first real test case of that virtual law firm, virtual assistant kind of based law firm model. So I think a lot of that, the cohesion and just the way that those related made it make a lot of sense to have them all at the same time.
Yeah, and I think, when we talk skill sets and complementary nature, you are a non-lawyer, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
sometimes people mistake you for a lawyer, but I
Mhm.
found out today you still don't have an Ethan Ostroff Law email, so that's good.
Yeah.
But James is a non-lawyer, and I've heard from a lot of lawyers, how do I hire and make productive a COO? So your role from day one is COO in Ethan Ostroff Law, COO and president in the staffing companies. How do you keep productive and keep me in my sweet spot? And how do we mesh so that you can stay productive and the business can keep growing and I can stay in my sweet spot, which is generally more the marketing, sales, operations from a global perspective?
I think a lot of it is you want, whether it's someone like the CEO, someone like a head attorney, the head of a firm, all the way down to support staff. You want everyone operating in their sweet spot. Like whether it's someone as high level as a COO, all the way down to your intake staff, you're gonna need high quality and high performing non-lawyers to make a law firm into what it can be, to thrive. And that goes for any business. Like if you have to go get a surgery and you're going to work with the best surgeon in the world, you're not going to call that surgeon to schedule the surgery. You're not going to talk to them. You're going to see a nurse. You're going to see other support staff. The surgeon's not going to be sitting at the front desk when you go there for your appointment. So just building around that knowledge of, we're going to need people that are not the kind of professional service provider, so a doctor, a lawyer, what have you. You're going to need those complementary folks around to support in order for that to become really a high-functioning business, not just a legal hobby, essentially.
Yeah, and I think, for those who are listening to this, it's impossible for me to tell you both what you're good at and what you enjoy. I don't know you. Everybody's different. We coincidentally, other than maybe HR, which we both don't necessarily love, the finance, the cash flow modeling, the expense tracking, and the people management, I think you both are great at and enjoy. Mm-hmm. Where for me, like generating more clients, trying to find a new pipeline, maybe going down to the weeds and building a pipeline with you, and sort of the marketing sales is my sweet spot. Mm-hmm. But, I think the lesson that we learned with each other is like, listen to what you don't like. Mm-hmm. And like, I know I don't like the finance side. It stresses me out. And like, you feel a sense of control when you have your hands in those things. Mm-hmm. So, I think for those who are listening, when you're gonna go hire a COO, it's not insulting. Start with the things that you don't like and don't want to do, and find somebody that's a partner for that. So,
mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think an important piece there is, just because you don't like something or isn't something that you're great at doesn't mean that everyone doesn't like it. Just if putting together an Excel model is like nails on a chalkboard for you, that's something that I love to do. So just because it's something you don't like to do, don't think you have to just grin and bear it because, oh, no one's going to want to do this. I feel bad hiring someone for this atrocious task. Like, you're going to be able to find people that are good at it and that really love it. And that's going to allow you to expand and grow and delegate and kind of focus on your sweet spot and what you like to do.
Yeah. And our business is the business of delegation in our staffing companies. We sort of help business owners and lawyers think through what shouldn't you be doing and get off your plate right now so we can put you in your sweet spot. Our business, I looked in Teams the other day on our full company chat. It's over 120 internal staff. Mm-hmm. That is, lion's share of them are virtual assistants or what we call impact assistants, based out of all over the world. A lot of Filipinos, a lot of Central South Americans, mm-hmm. depending on the type of task they're doing. What are some things that have worked with our companies to be able to have that many internal staff, make sure they're productive, and get as much work done as we seem to? What has worked for us to be able to do that?
I think a lot of it comes down to like the delegation and being really purposeful along the same lines of finding the people that really like what they're doing and they have that skill set. If you bring in a good core of kind of leaders around you and kind of build from there, and then also just listen to your people and make sure that they're happy. Pretty much, we had a couple bumps in the road kind of building out the Ethan Ostroff Law intake team. We had some questionable folks kind of as our first intaker, but once we found the right person, he became kind of our superstar intaker. He then elevated into a leadership role. Now he's still a little bit in that role, but now he kind of leads our whole Belize operation because he pretty much came to us and it kind of happened organically, but he said, hey, this is something I'm really interested in. This is something that I want to do. And we worked with him to find a role that really works. So I think figuring out how to start that core group of leaders, delegate to them, and then inspire them to kind of build teams around them. And then also just listen to folks and make sure that everyone's doing what they really find value in, what they find kind of fulfillment in. It's just make sure that everyone's kind of operating in their sweet spot.
Yeah, I think something that sticks out to me about the way we've designed all of our teams is we aren't afraid to hire a very experienced, expensive, great stateside person who really knows through and through a particular role to have an experienced supervisor and someone that oversees that the content is done right, that the training is correct. You know, I think of a couple people in our staffing company. I think of Erica, who was somebody that came in and started in a role where they were handling accounts and then developed in. So, you know, and then we support them with sort of micro task virtual assistants to take the stuff off their plate that they shouldn't be doing. You know, what is the exact, how many stateside people do we have right now?
I think we have across the three companies, it's around 20.
So 20 of our 120
Correct, yep.
are stateside. And each of those stateside hires, I would not trade for anything. And like, it's not just you bring in somebody great and then they do everything. You know, the way we've designed kind of support around them, I think was really intentional, where you can get, you know, in a law firm, the age-old question is how many cases can someone handle? In, you know, SaaS companies or accounts, you know, monthly recurring revenue businesses like our staffing company, it's how many accounts can someone handle and do well on. For us, we really value the relationship with whoever the client is. And we put someone we know will not fumble the relationship in front. And then all the stuff behind the scenes, we've built micro task roles for. So, you know, kind of dig a little into that if you can.
Yeah, and I think again, focusing on having folks do what they really enjoy and that's their sweet spot. I think obviously our whole virtual staffing business is successful because it is cost effective for companies. So when we first started, it was really you and I as the two stateside people, and then we just built around us a team of virtual assistants. And I think that gave us the knowledge and the ability to know, okay, this is really the best place where our virtual assistants can thrive. And then that allowed us to kind of peel ourselves back and say, okay, I think we've set up our virtual team really strongly, but now it would be helpful to have, I know you mentioned Erica come in as the primary account manager instead of James doing that for all of our, at that point, we probably had 40 accounts. So kind of building economically to start and kind of playing that like multiple hat role, but then bringing on folks to kind of wear some of those hats so then you can operate kind of at a higher level. And I think the nature of virtual assistants is that every once in a while you'll find one that's kind of a jack of all trades and can do a number of things, but a lot of them are going to operate the best when they're focused on a particular task. They come in on for the day, they laser focus on this is what I have to do. I'm going to do this same task or these same two tasks X number of times and then I'm going to call it a day. So being able to support your leadership team, your stateside team with those kind of laser focused task oriented virtual assistants is essentially how we built everything.
Yeah. So it really was James and I from the beginning. And, my first hire was James, really. And then now we're, partners in all the businesses that we do. But, sometimes people think if I'm not the one doing this, it's not being done right. What I kind of ingrained from day one is 8 out of 10 is still done. Done is better than perfect in almost every circumstance. And the action of doing has been our biggest ally, I feel like. Where do we want to go? What are we building towards?
Yeah, I know, our website, our stated goals are to staff 1 million people and represent 1 million plaintiffs. I think we're closer on the 1 million plaintiff side, but that's where, aspirationally speaking, I think it is a pretty lofty goal, just with where things like AI and stuff like that are going, but that's really where we're headed. So just right now, a lot of our staffing business is in the legal space through our attorney assistant company. So expanding that beyond the legal space to other industries is kind of where big picture we're heading in the staffing side. And then on the law firm side, expanding into different practice areas, really handling our own cases, just being able to kind of get our brand and adjacent brands out to more and more people so we can, I don't know if we'll get to 1 million plaintiffs, but as close as possible.
I think we can do it.
Yeah.
All right. So, last topic, that trip to the Philippines and what it's going to mean to go back and bring our clients. It's something I am so passionate about. When we were there, walking around that room, speaking to 350 people that are so loving their jobs for law firm owners, what was going through your head when you were walking through that conference?
So when we were there, one thing, Ethan and I, at that point, my son was, I think, 7 or 8 months old. Ethan's was kind of 5 or 6 months old. I was kind of having that, obviously, as like a little bit of the undertone where obviously we had all of those people in a room that we're able to provide an opportunity. If you work with us and you hire us, you're providing that opportunity to hopefully a large team of folks as well. And just thinking about kind of the ripples of that, like providing support for all those people in the room so that they have a job that they're happy with, that supports them well. But then those people also have families that then they can support. And then maybe that allows someone in their family to also get a job. We also, in the Philippines especially, have a lot of referrals that come to us that are family members, that are friends. So just being able to staff that first person, whether we're finding them, providing them a job, whether one of our clients is kind of giving us that chance and therefore our people that chance, like just that ripple effect. They have families. Like if we weren't able to provide that opportunity, maybe their kids wouldn't kind of grow up with as much of an opportunity. So just that lasting kind of ripple effect is really what resonated with me.
It was selfishly, we got all the attention and all the love in that room because it was just us two. I felt when I was at tables for, friends and colleagues and clients of ours that have been with us from the very beginning, see one quarter of the room was Pond Lehocky, another was Malman, then we have Rosen Injury Lawyers, then we have, these tables and they're taking such pride in what they're doing. All I could think about is how amazing it'd be to bring the people that they work for there too, to experience that. That is something that we are planning to do for our attorney assistant and TKO clients next year, is to go back and bring everybody. I really hope that other people get to feel that feeling we got when we were there. So, just to wrap it up, I'm grateful for you as a partner. I think we've built a lot really quickly, and I still feel broke and like we haven't done anything yet. Sometimes I feel like I don't know how to explain what we do. At the end of the day, I think where we both align the most is we just want to help as many people as we can. And at the core, that's where we're coming from with what we do. What do you think is the biggest differentiator between us and, another staffing company or just another law firm?
I think, especially on the staffing company side, like going to the Philippines is kind of evidence of it, but we really care about our people. We care about their families. We care about their success. Like I said before, we care about what really interests people. I know we've spoken to some folks in the staffing industry where we mentioned like, oh, have you ever been to the Philippines, wherever you staff from? And they are kind of like, no, why would I do that? That's kind of crazy. So, and then the same thing on the law firm side. I think we do use a lot of cutting edge type technology, like having plaintiffs potentially sign up using like a jot form or something like that. But really at the end of the day, all of those processes and all of those things that we put time into is so that it creates the best experience for our clients. Obviously clients get frustrated when they don't hear back from attorneys, when they don't get updates, when the attorney is kind of kind of jumbled and not really knowing what's going on with the case. So yeah, and just having all that stuff organized through those, call it cutting edge, call it like whatever you want, but just having all of those in place allows us to provide the best service and kind of do what's right for our people, for clients, for plaintiffs, for what have you.
So I'm going to wrap it up. So for all of you who listened, I hope you got some value out of this. James is the CEO or the COO to me being the CEO of all the businesses that we do together. Our vision is to help as many people as we can. And I hope that this was, something that you maybe resonated with you. I hope that, if you do have any questions, there will be definitely a way to reach out right below here. I look forward to having you on the next episode of The Growth Code, and I'll see you next time.